I like slow flight because it gets you warmed up.
Yeah.
You can't go too far off on stuff, but it lets you kind of get a feel of an airplane. If you guys took off and you've been flying now about 15 minutes.
Okay.
Kind of the idea is take your sweet time. Don't do anything until you're damn good and ready, as they say. Get everything set how you want it, trim, so you're not fighting that. And then most of the maneuvers will just work right out for you. So notice at 3,500 with 2,300 RPM where your airspeed's at. Notice it's inside the white arc, which is your flap range. Right?
Okay.
So that's why we kind of set that up. You're trimming it, getting how you want, got the heading pointed out. So to get into slow flight, you're going to bring your power back to 1,800 and then kind of hold the nose up. You don't want the airplane to descend below 35. Okay. So as soon as you get it back there, start pitching the nose back, and I kind of look at the VSI.
Okay.
First notch of flaps. Kind of flying to your point. Second notch of flaps. Then you're trying to get all that in before the airspeed gets too slow. Okay. So see when you get to 55 there?
Yeah.
Now bump it up to 2,300 again. A little bit of right rudder. And that's the horn that we want it to be at, actually.
That's the horn?
Yeah, so now pitch back a little bit more. And what we're trying to do is there's going to be a certain pitch and a power setting that'll put you right at 55. So notice you're a little bit above it, and you're climbing, right? So now just bring your power back a little bit, maybe to 2,100, and then not pitch so much. And then that'll bring your airspeed down, but now work your way back down to 3,500. So the only way you can do that is power.
Power?
Yeah, you're just going to bring some power back and then pitch. So if you pitch down now, you can hold any airspeed, but you'll slowly lose altitude. Okay. So this is just mastery, control of airspeed and pitch is what it boils down to. Okay. So see how your airspeed's pitching up a little bit? Yep. Just bring the nose up. You're pitching to try to hold about 55. And then power. Power's your... Yeah. Once you get to the altitude you want, now try like 2,200, because 23 was just a little bit much. Okay. Good. So now, the idea of slow flight, or what they call minimum controllable airspeed, is if you were to increase the pitch of the airplane, you should hear the horn, right? So now just kind of pull the nose back a little bit, and it should come on. So that's perfect. That's why we set about 54, 53, just so you know. Okay, so next what it's going to have you do is, if you came off on altitude, just bring your power back, pitch for like 53. Okay. And work your way down. And then what he's going to say is, so now you can just kind of pitch down a little bit if you want. And that'll bring that airspeed up just a little bit. Then you'll start to, everything in slow flight is done really, really slow. I see. You're only descending like maybe 200-300 feet a minute. And then when we bank, right, if we bank and we're already right at the stall, if we bank, you're going to hear that horn. Yep. Right? So anytime you're doing slow flight and he says, okay, I want you to turn to a heading of 360, first thing you do is bump your power up a little bit. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll do that. He'll say turn left to heading at 360. Okay. So you want to kind of bump it up maybe to 2,300. And then the banking on this to control everything, hit altitude and airspeed, pitch back and then do very slow bank. Like don't even bank more than 10 degrees. And you can use your attitude indicator for that. So if it's climbing, bring back your power just a little bit. That'll help control it. At this point, power is your altitude control. Okay. So just remember, anything you do it nice and slow. Climb or descent at 200-300 feet. When you bank, try not to bank more than about 10 degrees. Okay. And that way you won't overshoot headings that he says. Because if you're banking like 30 degrees, you'll get the horn a lot earlier. Yeah. Plus you'll overshoot headings. Okay. And so he'll say, okay, let's try this, Nick. Go ahead and descend down, hold 55. And descend down to 3,500. And then give me a turn to heading at 270. So it's kind of just like you're doing, get your descent set, and then put in about 10 degrees of bank, and go ahead and start working your way while you're descending over there to 270. Everything's just gotten kind of nice and slow. You're controlling airspeed and pitch of the airplane. Kind of a balance between the two. Altitude is this. Yep. And everything else is done. Airspeed control is done strictly on pitch. Okay. So notice how it all kind of comes together. Yep. Okay. As soon as you get the altitude you want, then right up to about 2,200. And on a really hot day, you might need more, call it 23. On a really cool day, you actually might even need 1,900 to hold airspeed and altitude right where you want it. So it's a combination of the two. Yep. I think you got it down pretty darn good, actually. Okay, so now he'll say, go ahead and recover. So that's why I like, okay, kind of pick a point.
Yep.
And we know if you add full power, right, the nose is going to want to yaw to the left.
Yeah.
So now when you go ahead and add full power, do a little bit of right rudder.
Okay.
And still hold 35. So let's go ahead and bring your power up nice and slow, kind of match it with the rudder. First notch, it flaps out. Now you can kind of let the pitch down, but you don't want it to descend. And all you're doing is letting your airspeed slowly build back as it slowly builds up to 70. You're kind of starting to pitch the nose down because now the airflow is coming over your wings, right? When you get to 70, take your last notch out. And now you can really pitch the nose down, otherwise you'd climb back up. So you're going from minimum controllable airspeed back into a cruise configuration, holding altitude.
Okay, cool.
Much. So usually what I do is I bring it right up to about 90, and then to start the next maneuver, you bring it right back to 2300, and now you're set, ready to go for the next one. Kind of the same thing, you can pick a point in a heading, and then on a steep turn, we've already kind of done those, but we'll walk you through it. So the big thing is get it all trimmed up where she's not climbing or descending. And then what we're going to do is we're going to roll into 30 degrees of bank, and when you get to there, we're going to bump it up to about 2400.
Okay.
And then when you get to 2400 in there, now you want to roll the bottom of the attitude indicator and put it right on that mark, because that's 45 degrees.
Gotcha.
So what you kind of do is you start into a nice smooth roll, trying not to climb or descend.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and go to the left, and I kind of say clear left. So, you know,
clear left.
Okay. And as you keep it rolling, try to roll, now
30.
Power up. And as you're doing that, you continue. Now look to the bottom of the attitude indicator. When you get it right on that bank angle, now pull back. Because you can see you're going to descend if you don't. Right.
Okay.
So now you kind of look outside. You can put this top of my cal right on the horizon.
Yep.
Keeps that altitude for you. And then you got to look back here to keep the bank. So you're kind of looking out, looking back in. A little bit more bank. There you go. And you might have to, pitch-wise, you want to do everything kind of slow.
Okay.
He's looking at that VSI, we're 500 feet a minute. So now you come back around. Now bring your power back. Kind of now roll out on your point. Good. Now keep it coming to the right. Kind of now bring your power back in. There you go. Keep it rolling around.
Oh, we're going back the other way. Gotcha.
Yeah, good. And then you lock it on the 45 there. So pull back a little bit, and you end up kind of locking it in there.
Okay.
You'll feel it kind of lock in.
Huh.
This airplane, steep turns are pretty easy on them. You just got to kind of get the touchdown on it. The biggest time is the rolling from one to the other. Everybody wants to climb on it. And then if you just kind of remember, as you're rolling around, when your point comes into play right here, like right there, bring your power back, and then roll out on your point. If you forget to bring the power back, right here, you'll climb tremendously.
Okay.
Because you're not taking it, right back up to 23.
Okay.
Because if you don't take the power out, you'll end up climbing.
Okay.
Every time. So go ahead and try one on your own.
All right. Clear left.
Okay, good. Through 30, bump your power up as you're kind of going to the 45. When you get there, try to go right to that 45.
All the way to the 45.
Pull back just a little bit. That stops that descent rate.
Gotcha.
There you go. And you can kind of feel it once it locks in.
Yeah.
You can kind of feel it. All he's looking for is that your VSI really never goes over 500 feet a minute, climb or descent.
Okay.
So if you can manage that, it's not too bad. If it goes beyond the 500 feet, you lose it anyway. So right there, power back, then roll out on your point. Now just continue the turn. Try to push the nose down as you're doing it. That's good. Prop wash, bring power up. Lock it on the 45. If you got the prop wash, it means you started exactly, you ended exactly where you started.
That's what that was?
Yeah.
Okay,
that's
cool.
perfect. You can't get better than that. Very nice. And as soon as your point comes into play here, try to get your power back. And then as you roll out on that, you just kind of roll out and you'll end up pushing forward a little bit on the yoke. Beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was perfect.
That felt good.
If you get that prop wash, that's the best thing ever.
Okay.